I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? What's going on, boxing fans? Welcome to Back Chat TV. We're going to get straight into the topic today. We're going to talk about Oleksandr Usyk. I feel like Oleksandr Usyk is a fighter that we don't actually know that much about. We don't get the opportunity to really know much about his background and quite a few things about him, especially people who are not from his country. You know, obviously he's from Ukraine and he's not that well known outside of Ukraine. People may know of him, but they don't know much about his backstory and how he got into boxing and things like that. So I kind of watched a documentary about him, which I thought was quite interesting, and it just gave me just a new appreciation for the guy. So I thought I'd just run through a few things about him and then talk a bit about his training methods and things like that, and then why I think he's going to do really well against Tyson Fury if that fight does happen. So he was born in the Crimean, January the 17th, 1987, in Ukraine. He grew up in a sporting family because his father basically was a Greco-Roman wrestling coach, and at some point he used to do wrestling himself. And he's got an older brother who was also a boxer. So he kind of said in an interview that I was watching that he kind of looked up to his father very much and his brother as well, because they were the first kind of people in his family who influenced him into sports. His father died, unfortunately, and in the documentary, even at his age, he still got upset talking about it, which I thought was quite touching, actually. You know, he's definitely got some emotions there. He said that his father never really said how much he was proud of him and that he loved him and things like that, because he said his father was part of the old Soviet Union kind of mentality, where they don't talk about their feelings and things like that. So he was very much part of that kind of tough love upbringing, which probably contributed to him being so successful. Definitely, I would say, because his father was really his role model. But at the same time, you know, it seemed to have a difficult time with his father never saying that he loved him and never told him anything like that when he was growing up. And then obviously he died before he could say these things. And so actually what Oleksandr Usyk says in the documentary, he says that he knows that his father would be proud of him, and he knows that his father told his friends that he loved his son, but he just never told him, and he wished that he told him. And he was actually really upset and quite moved by that. I was quite moved by what he was talking about. It just gave me a little bit more of an insight into him, because his English is not that good, and the only thing we could admire about him is his boxing. You know, so like I said before, although he was born in a place called Simferopol in the Crimea, Ukraine, he moved away and he began practicing martial arts at a very young age. He initially trained in Greco-Roman wrestling, like I said, like his father, but he eventually shifted his focus to boxing when he was a teenager. And initially, as a teenager, he actually wanted to do music. He attended a Crimean Music and Drama School, where he studied piano and singing. I get the impression that his father was kind of against this kind of thing, although he doesn't say that, but you know, there was an indication that it wasn't something that his father was necessarily that proud of, and I think that's probably why he went into the boxing stuff instead. But he definitely made a success of the boxing, as we know. So, there's no shame in that. So Usyk had a very successful amateur career, winning multiple championships and medals, including the gold medal in the heavyweight division at the 2012 London Olympics. He turned professional in 2013, and he quickly established himself as one of the top fighters in the cruiserweight division. As we know, he beat everyone. He was unbeaten. He also beat Gassiev, who was probably his main rival at the time, and then he beat Gassiev to become the cruiserweight champion. He won the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF titles, and he became undisputed champion. And that's when he moved up to heavyweight division in 2019. And since then, as we know, he's defeated the top fighters, the top heavyweights. Before fighting the top fighters in the heavyweight division, he fought Witherspoon, who gave him a good introduction to the heavyweight division. Followed by, I think his next fight was against Derek Chisora, and then obviously he had the two Anthony Joshua fights at heavyweight, which I thought he looked amazing. Overall, I would say Usyk is widely respected for his boxing skills and his sportsmanship, and just his dedication to the craft. That's what I think is the main thing that people kind of respect about him. Couple of interesting facts. While Usyk was in the amateurs, he actually lost a fight to Sean Porter, which is a very interesting fact. I feel like he's quite an interesting character. Although he doesn't speak much English, I feel like he's resonated with a lot of the fans. Just his personality, his character comes through. I think a lot of people admire his, his calm demeanour. His humour as well. He's actually quite a funny guy, even though he doesn't speak much English. A lot of people find him to be quite an amusing person with his jokes about Tyson Fury, calling him Belly and stuff like that. That's definitely got a lot of people, kind of casual fans, tuned in to see, what insults are going to be thrown at each other, between Tyson Fury and him. And I found that to be quite a funny thing. But call himself the Rabbit and stuff like that. He's quite a funny character, and I think that's definitely warmed him to the British public, certainly. He's demonstrated a lot of, a high level of discipline in his training and preparation for fights. A lot of people who have sparred him have said he is, if you think he looks difficult to fight, from outside the ring, in the ring, he's literally a magician. They say that you can't hit him, it's hard to time him, and he can spar non-stop, apparently, and this is due to his difficult training measures. He swims a few kilometers every couple of days underwater, holding his breath. He does a lot of brain training exercises, which we've all seen him juggling, juggling 3-4 tennis balls at the same time, balancing on one leg. He also does some brain training with cards and remembering numbers and things like that. Apparently, it's supposed to help his brain work faster while he's in the ring. Apart from that, he does a lot of aerobic training to improve his endurance, which he's got amazing endurance, especially for a heavyweight. A lot of strength and conditioning, kind of mixed with dancing and things like that a lot of people don't really use to try and improve, hand and eye coordination. And he kind of mixes them up with foot movements, dancing, punching, juggling, all these things together, and then working out sums and things like that, so that, he's kind of got that whole thing going on where he can basically improve his cognitive decision making. That's what it's really aimed at. This type of multi-dimensional training definitely benefits him in the ring, where he confuses his opponents with his constant movement and, he's planning ahead. I haven't seen anyone who can do that like he does, with perhaps the exception of Lomachenko. I mean, if we just look and really appreciate what he's done, coming up from cruiserweight, beating Anthony Joshua twice convincingly, just technically better, he's very technical. You never catch him out of position. He never overextends. Everything is very measured. Everything starts with the basics, with the footwork, and then he builds on that. And, I think his fundamentals, I think, is the thing that sets him apart from everyone else, even Tyson Fury, to be honest. I mean, his fundamentals start from his foot position, his distance control. He always looks balanced. I've never seen him throw a punch off balance. He keeps a high guard, and so it's very hard to penetrate his defense. I personally think Usyk is going to be the toughest guy that Tyson Fury has faced in the ring, and that's including Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder physically, poses a lot of dangers, as we know. But I think Usyk is going to pose a lot of dangers from many different directions, I think there's going to be a lot of mental battles going on with Usyk. If Tyson Fury tries to, impose himself and, put his 6'9", 290 pounds weight on Usyk, I think Usyk is strong enough to deal with that. I think he's way too disciplined, and he's the kind of athlete that's not going to get worn out by Tyson Fury, leaning on him, things like that. I just don't think that works with someone like him. So professional with his conditioning and with his skills. I don't even think he's going to allow Tyson Fury to really fight him in that way. I think if he tries to fight him at range, I think Usyk will adapt, be a lot more sharper, get closer to Tyson Fury and be a lot sharper with the jab, and him being faster, as fast or faster than Tyson Fury, is going to make a difference. It's not going to be able to kind of treat him as if Usyk is another Vladimir Klitschko. I think he's way better than Vladimir Klitschko. I don't think he'll be able to control him with distance and the jab like the way he did in that fight. So I think there's a lot of intangibles there, and it's going to come down to the battle of the will, and I think skills. Like they say, skills pay the bills. I think it comes down to skills. Tyson Fury has got skills himself, but I don't think he's as refined as Oleksandr Usyk. But they do say that a good big man beats a good little man, and we'll have to see if that's the case. I definitely think Tyson Fury is going to put up a much better fight than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was just too one-dimensional, too stiff, waiting for a certain opportunity to come, was never going to get that opportunity with someone as experienced as Oleksandr Usyk. He couldn't corner him. His footwork, he was just too fast, too sharp, too many angles for someone like Joshua to worry about. So he posed a lot of problems. And I think, him being a big athletic guy with lots of skills is going to prove the same kind of issues for Tyson Fury. Although Tyson Fury is better than Joshua, he will adapt as well. And I think it might end up being a very high-level chess game. Personally, I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Oleksandr Usyk gets it done by decision. I just think Oleksandr Usyk is too technically sound, and I think Tyson Fury is underestimating him. I'm really quite excited for the fight. Despite all the things and advantages I said for Usyk, Tyson Fury is a big man with a lot of skills, and the biggest thing about Tyson Fury is that he can adapt. He can adapt on the fly instantly depending on what's going on in the ring, and it's very intuitive with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury doesn't need anyone to tell him what he's doing wrong. He adapts very quickly in the ring, and that's very dangerous. I do think Tyson Fury is very, very good because of this innate kind of intuitive ability that he has to adapt. So it's going to be a good fight. I can't wait to see it. I'm on to the next one. If you enjoyed the video today, please don't forget to like, share, leave a comment, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.